Thank you to everyone so far who has tuned into our virtual healthcare summit. We've been talking to a lot of exciting companies today, and we've got another one coming up right now. We've got BioHarvest Sciences hanging out backstage with us, CEO Ilan Sobel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Ilan on the show. All right, Ilan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be on the show, Aaron. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. So before we get into it, do you want to give us just a brief overview of what BioHarvest Sciences is and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I'll try and make it nice and tight. At the core, Aaron, we are a biotech company. Our core capabilities are in R&D and manufacturing, and we have this unique ability to take the plant once, just once. We take cells from the plant, and by taking these cells from the plant, we're able to ensure that we are able to grow the exact same phytomedicinal compounds from the plant in our cells by literally mirroring the phytomedicinal compounds from the plant. We also magnify the levels of specific targeted molecules. And then we take these cells and we grow them in massive industrial scale bioreactors. So we're really doing three things. We're mirroring the phytomedicinal compounds that are found in the plant by getting our cells to grow these compounds in a non-GMO way. We magnify the levels of critical phytomedicinal compounds, and we then literally multiply the cells and get them to grow in massive industrial scale bioreactors. And at the end of the day, we're producing unique plant molecules, either simple molecules or complex molecules with a level of solubility and bioavailability and efficacy the world has not seen before, specifically given the fact that we can grow these critical phytomedicinal molecules consistently, reliably, with economic efficiency, and with patentability. So at the end of the day, we're now availing literally hundreds of thousands of plants and their molecules. We're now bringing these plant molecules to the pharmaceutical industry, nutraceutical, cosmeceutical, and premium nutrition industries.
Wow, that's incredible technology there. Sounds very exciting what you guys are doing. Ilan, you have a career of growing disruptive brands into new markets, leading Coca-Cola Asia and many other emerging markets in the Southeast. Tell us what drew you to the BioHarvest Science story.
Well, Aaron, it's actually interesting. I came to BioHarvest initially as an investor, like many of the
Oh, wow.
people watching this show. Yeah. And when I came to the company, I was just blown away by what I saw was a gold mine of R&D. And when I went deep as part of my own due diligence, and I've done enough due diligences in my life with major Chinese companies from my previous experience, I was just blown away by the rigor, by the quality of the IP, by the quality of the clinical trials, by the scalability of the technology, by the quality of the people, of the senior leadership team. And that's what attracted me. And I really felt like here was a company that had a capability and R&D, a deep R&D knowledge that could literally change the world. And at the time, I wanted to be part of it as an investor. And I was really fortunate that I drove them so crazy during the due diligence process that the CEO at the time, who's now the chairman of the company and an amazing partner, asked me to come on board and to take the role of being the CEO, to be able to operationalize this technology and bring what we call our botanical synthesis technology, because that's what we call this amazing technology, botanical synthesis, and to bring botanical synthesis technology to the entire world. And this really is the charge that we've been leading over the last 4 years. And we've just now started to kind of avail that technology outside of not just our products, direct to consumer products business, but with the launch of a new CDMO services business that we've recently launched in the marketplace.
Wow. Yeah. That's an incredible story coming in first as an investor. And a lot of times you see investors come in And when they disrupt things like that, they don't really have a great relationship with the existing board. So I'm glad to hear that you and the former CEO, who's now the chairman, are still working together and good partners. I love that. I know you mentioned it, the botanical synthesis process. It is said to be a generational opportunity. Can you elaborate on the specific disruptive potential of this technology compared to existing methods for developing pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals?
Yeah, look, it's generational because ultimately what we're now able to do is we're able to access the phytomedicinal compounds of hundreds of thousands of plants out there. You know, if you go back, Aaron, in history, the pharmaceutical companies, they all started with the plants. And some of the first major, therapeutic solutions came from plants. But then it got too difficult. It got too difficult because you had some major barriers. You had major barriers, for example, consistency. Plants are growing in an ecosystem, and you can't manage the consistency based on rainfall, based on sunlight. You had major challenges in many cases of economic viability because the phytomedicinal compounds are often found in such small levels in the plant that when you're using extraction, it's just too difficult. And then specifically for pharmaceutical companies, it was the challenge of patentability. You couldn't patent nature. So with our botanical synthesis technology, obviously we utilize the plant once. We never have to go back to the plant once we've created our cell banks. And with these cell banks and how we are able to grow these cells and get them to elicit the phytomedicinal molecules in massive industrial scale bioreactors. And I'm talking about massive. We're talking about thousands of liters bioreactors.
Wow.
We're able to grow these molecules basically with consistency because we control all the parameters like the light, the nutrition, all the key factors we're able to control. We have unique, obviously, reliability. From an economics perspective, our cost of molecule is much lower than existing molecules in utilizing chemical synthesis with simple molecules or biologics, significantly lower costs. And our speed to molecule, call it speed to actually producing the molecule, is much faster. So, and importantly, from a safety perspective, because we're dealing with, plants, and human beings have been living with plants, for thousands of years, you have a much better safety opportunities as it relates to these molecules. You're not dealing with the same levels of on-target or off-target toxicity levels like you deal with chemical synthesis. And then with biologics, you're dealing with immunogenicity challenges. And we don't have those kind of challenges, just given, the fact that we've been living with plants and eating plants for, thousands of years. So this really is now the opportunity that we're now availing to pharmaceutical companies out there, to major cosmetic companies out there, because in the cosmetics world, consumers are walking so quickly away from chemically synthesized molecules. Right. You don't want to put that on your face, all the way through to obviously nutraceuticals, which is all about looking at preventative medicine as well. And then, you have this major opportunity in I call it premium nutrition world, where there's a lot of players in let's call it the better for you food space that are looking for unique molecules to fortify and add value to their products. So our technology has the ability to play across each of these deep verticals. And importantly, the molecules that we're producing, have the ability to be produced with unique consistency, reliability, economic efficiency, and then obviously safety is king, specifically, as dealing with the pharmaceutical side all the way through to the food chain.
100%. Well, Ilan, with a significant portion of Vinia sales coming from subscriptions, what strategies do you employ to enhance customer retention and grow the subscriber base? Does the company have the capacity to ramp with the forecasted demand that you've laid out?
So just to help the viewers understand this in a more contextual side, our botanical synthesis technology that we've now spent close to $100 million, and it's important for the viewers to understand, this is 15 years of work. We started building this company in 2007. We've literally built year by year, building the capabilities. That's why our IP portfolio, not just the patents that we have, and we have multiple patents, process, utility, and composition, but specifically deep know-how. And I really understand know-how from having worked for 18 years as a senior executive in the Coke company. We have deep know-how, deep secrets on how we do basically our botanical synthesis, a number of elements in our botanical synthesis process. Now, this botanical synthesis process technology feeds two business units. We have the products business unit, and then now a CDMO services business unit. And yes, Aaron, in the products business unit, we launched our Vinia product in the marketplace initially in Israel, and then started to scale in the big US of A. We came to America. I love Eddie Murphy's show, Coming to America. We were out there, literally, bringing the power of our red grape cell molecule, which has been clinically tested in double-blind placebo trials, to be able to significantly increase flow-mediated dilation of arteries, where we increase, obviously, the dilation of arteries, and with more arterial dilation, you have more blood flow. And blood flow is such a critical part of our body's operating mechanism. And with more blood flow, you have more oxygen and more nutrients flowing to the body, tissue, cells, and organs, and the reduction of toxins. So that gives you more physical energy. You have improved mental alertness, reduction of oxidative damage to the cells, as well as maintaining blood pressure within already normal ranges. And since we've launched, we have, between Israel and the US, more than 50,000 active customers. And yes, it's a unique business because it's a recurring subscription business, and more than 80% of our business is recurring subscription, which really is anchored in the fact that we have a product that delivers. So that's why we've been able to have such a high subscription rate, because ultimately we have such a low churn rate. And when you have low churn, right, then it makes sense to have subscriptions. And literally 95% of our subscriptions are 3-month or more recurring subscriptions.
Wow.
So yeah, so how are we feeding the market? It's been hand to mouth, but we continue to drive more efficiencies out of our 20-ton facility that we have in the Israeli market. And obviously, we're very much focused on making the right investments in assets that can allow us to very, very quickly expand our capacity and grow that subscription base, because in our world, subscription is king, with a very long lifetime value and a low cost of acquisition. That's what's going to ensure that we monetize the technology in our products division. And obviously, we're very focused at getting the company to profitability in the second half of the year at an EBITDA level.
All right, well, with all this positive news and momentum, Ilan, I understand there's some big next steps ahead. BioHarvest Sciences is aiming for an uplisting in the second half of 2024. Can you share more about the strategic importance of this move and how it aligns with your overall growth strategy?
Sure, Aaron. So look, being on a major exchange in the US of A is an important step for the company. It really allows for the participation of a lot of major institutional investors, and that's a big focus for us now. And these institutional investors, they understand the magnitude and gravity of the botanical synthesis technology process, but obviously they're looking to buy shares of companies that have high liquidity and high volume on major exchanges. So that's a very important move for us. Also, I started our first roadshow a couple of weeks ago, starting to engage with a number of different analysts, and we've seen a lot of positive feedback from analysts. But similarly, the analysts want to follow you, at least a large proportion of them. They'll only start to really get engaged once they start to see a movement to a major exchange. And then also from a financial, transparency perspective, people want that transparency moving to a major exchange. With all the requirements, you're giving your shareholder partners the critical transparency that they're looking for as they look to invest in a company for the long term. So these are really, really important reasons for us, and it's kind of in line with, as we scale our business, we've got to really, from a customer perspective, whether it's our products division or bringing in new customers into our CDMO services division, we have to scale the ability for shareholders to be able to purchase and be part of this really exciting journey that we're on to really drive a movement of change in the world with our botanical synthesis technology.
Well, yeah, it's exciting news. We will be covering that uplisting here at Benzinga, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, Ilan, wrapping up here, the recent CDMO launched an announcement of 2 signed contracts with Tier 1 partners already is very exciting, offering your patented technology as a service. What kind of opportunity does this present for the company, and what unique advantages does this bring to your clients in the pharmaceutical and nutraceutical industries?
So like I said earlier, if you look at the pharmaceutical world, you've seen pharmaceutical companies, they're really challenged with the next molecule, coming from chemical synthesis. And in the biologics world, the biologics has helped tremendously the pharmaceutical world in the last 15, 20 years, but it's an expensive, process to go through. So now we see pharmaceutical companies, specifically today, when we're looking at so many unmet needs as far as major medical indications are concerned, as well as the world of preventative medicine just lighting up. We see that pharmaceutical companies today are more than ever looking to go back to their origins. That means, Aaron, going back to the plant. And there's no other company in the world that's able to be that critical bridge to the plant with our botanical synthesis technology, where we're able to take the plant once and we're able to grow the same phytomedicinal molecules from the plant in a non-GMO way. We don't in any way change the molecular structure, and we do it with consistency, with economic efficiency, and you're able to patent these unique compositions. Because remember, what we do in our process is we mirror and we magnify. And by mirroring and magnifying, we change the ratios. So it's actually, in a way, we've improved nature. And in this way, we're actually able to drive, patterns from a composition perspective. And when you start to point those specific compositions at targeted indications, you then can have utility patterns together with the composition patterns. So all of a sudden, the pharmaceutical world and the cosmetic world are starting to understand the gravity of the technology and the magnitude of change that we can bring to their innovation pipeline. And that, at the end of the day, allows us to really drive this generational opportunity of actually bringing a movement of change to the world that the world really needs at this time, when we still have so many unsolved indications. We're dealing with massive sustainability challenges, and sustainability for us is at the core of our technology, where we utilize literally a micro fraction of the land, a fraction of the water, and a fraction of the electricity that would be required for, basically to produce similar kind of molecules if you were going to actually try and do it in a regular agricultural way. So we've landed 2 deals already. The CDMO services business has been out there literally only for publicly for now 3 weeks, and prior to this for about 6 weeks we started to engage companies. We have 1 deal with a pharmaceutical company that's NASDAQ listed, and another deal with a major food ingredients company. And the pipeline, Aaron, is super exciting as we're looking to really engage and working closely with moving through our sales pipeline some really major players across these key verticals.
Yeah, lots of exciting news there. After learning more about the science, the technology, the opportunity here for BioHarvest Sciences, I can see, Ilan, why you got involved first as an investor and now, of course, as the CEO. Again, guys, Ilan Sobel, the CEO of BioHarvest Sciences. Thank you so much for joining us today on Benzinga's Virtual Healthcare Summit.
Thank you for the opportunity. Enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you again to Ilan Sobel and the team over there at BioHarvest Sciences. Super exciting what they are doing. Now it's time to get back to it. Let's kick it back to Zunaid.